Hi friends, it's spring break and that means it's time for spring cleaning. And while I was cleaning, I came across a couple more old CDs that had possible Bigfoot sounds on them. And so I started looking through them just for fun. And the coolest thing is I really came across some sounds that I thought that I had lost. There was one sound that was kind of a "yo" type of a sound, and another one that was a boop. And for whatever reason, I keep getting these like single boops, and I thought about them, did some research, and then subsequently forgot about them. And then when I went to look for them, I couldn't find them anywhere. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through the process of having audio that's already been collected and then putting it onto the computer and just looking at it and listening to it again, and I think it might be kind of a cool thing to do. So, let's have fun. Alright friends, that little silly thing right there is something that I've been looking for a long time. It is actually a recording that was made in Michigan, and I, for the life of me, could not find this thing. There's this series of recordings has some really interesting things, anywhere from, oh my goodness, from the time we started the recorder and we got our first noise, if you will, at the 7:10 mark, all the way to about 22 minutes. So what you have, with my math, is you have about 14 to 15 minutes of just some strange activity that's going on. And so we're going to talk about that today, because this is some found audio that I think you guys might find interesting. So basically, this is what would happen. I would somehow receive audio. Sometimes it would be just via email or something like that, or I might get it on a disc like this, a thumb drive, all sorts of different ways. I'd listen to it, and then I take notes. I always put the date, the location, things like that. And then here at 24 seconds, there's screams. At 32 seconds, there's a knock and a howl and things like that. So this would be something that I would want to look into a little bit more closely. But every once in a while, it's just not interesting. Well, I have a lot of audio that I've received, and so every once in a while I go back and I look at old audio that I might not have thought was interesting at the time, and now I do. Well, let me show you a little bit about this particular bit of audio. This was captured in Isabella, Michigan, and what's neat about it is if you take a look on the screen, now I know you're not going to be able to see it really closely, but I will make sure that you see it a little bit later. One of the things you can tell is that there's noise here. And so what I can do is on this line right here, I can actually get rid of all of that, and that would get rid of all the spring peepers, so you wouldn't hear the frogs. And that would make things a lot easier to hear. But I don't want to do that right now. This is straight as I received it. And so I just want you to listen to something. This is just kind of cool. I'm going to put us to the 7-minute mark in this audio recording. Now, you're going to hear a lot of crickets. It's going to be loud, but this is how I initially hear it through headphones. That's what I wanted you to hear. There was a "ew" or something like that. Let's do that again. We'll get a little bit closer. Just listen. That's something, I'm not familiar with it. It's weird. And it's happened a couple of times in this location. And so whenever you hear something like that, and as a matter of fact, I started and I wrote "ew" because I've been looking for that thing forever, and I finally found it. There's also some weird things that you'll hear, weird boops, and I'm trying to figure out what these are, and that's the next thing I'm going to look for. So what I can do, also, really quickly, you can actually see the audio. So what happens is in Audacity or on a spectrogram, what you can do is when you've keyed in on an audio, take a look at where it appears on the spectrograph. and then look down there or up here or wherever it is, and it makes it easier to find things that you're looking for. For instance, if I want to find spring peepers, I look through that line because that's what is making all that horrific noise. But if I'm looking for that yo, I can scan through here really quickly and just be like, oh, let's see if there's anything down at this level. And anytime I see something pop up at that lower level, like I see something actually here, which I didn't see before, let's see if this is something. Why not? I'm thinking that was a chicken. I don't know. But see, I know you really can't see it on the screen, but I'm just kind of looking down here, and I can see anytime something pops up, I can scan this, and I don't even have to necessarily be listening to it. I'm looking, there's right around this area. So, oh, here we are. It's right here. And don't worry, I'll zoom in on it for you later. But right here, you should be able to hear something. Listen to this. What is that? It's like, boop. Like is someone in the woods just going, boop. There's a couple of other things right here. And so I'm going to let it go about 3 more seconds. Oh. 4 more seconds. Okay, all of those occurred at about the same level. And so what that means to me is it's probably the same vocalizer. Meaning it's the same critter or person that's making that noise because it appears at exactly the same spot on the spectrogram. That's actually kind of cool. I'm going to really quickly scan forward because I think there's one other thing in here that I think is kind of cool. And it's neat that you can visually look at these things and, oh, okay. Okay, it's been a while since I've seen these. I'm actually going to show you this one because it looks kind of cool. Take a look here. Now, right here is the area that I've been seeing things. Those look like they might be whoops or howls. And then I don't know what happens over here. But those are lines and they look like they might be whoops or howls. So let's see. It's like, for me, honestly, it's like the first time I've heard these. This is kind of fun. All right, let's listen. Okay, that was kind of cool. I remember this audio now, but I'm going to turn this off because basically all you're going to hear is coyotes and then dogs going crazy. But what's cool about it is the fact that you can see it on the screen first and you get an idea of what it is you're actually going to hear, and that's really exciting. Then what you can do is, again, you can just isolate the audio that you don't want, you know, any of the dead space, and you can also real easily get rid of noises that you don't like to hear. Now, I will tell you that I'm not a huge fan of eliminating sounds just because that kind of bothers me. I like to keep it as accurate as possible, and so usually what I try to do is draw out the good sounds and not get rid of any of the other sounds. And that just gives you a better listening experience. Basically, I make the stuff that you want to hear a little bit louder so you can hear it better, but I don't eliminate everything else. Maybe it's just because I'm not as good with audio as I might be, but this is cool. This is just fun. Particularly if people have given you really cool audio. All right, like I promised, I was going to go back and show you. This is the audio that occurred at the basically 7-minute and 11-second mark, and that was the EO. And one of the other things you can do with this is, by going through here, you can change the color of the spectrogram. I like to use grayscale when I'm just kind of glancing at it because things stick out a little bit better for me. But you can use all different kinds of colors. And I have this expanded. And so it looks like it's recorded in mono, but it's actually in stereo. But you can see just this little blip right there. It's almost like you're looking at sonar because it is sound. So now I'm at the point where what I'll do with this information is I will cut out the things that aren't interesting for people. No one wants to sit and hear spring peepers for an hour and a half. Get rid of that, clean up the audio, and then what I like to do is I like to share it, because this information is worthless if I just sit on it and it's not doing any good. And so what I'll do is I put it obviously on this YouTube channel, but also on Facebook so people have access to it. And really the reason that I do that is because I can learn. And other people can collect data and they can learn, and we can all research it, and I can figure out what's making that boop. Because initially I thought it had to be a turkey or something like that. And so I'm just fascinated by that. But the EO, I don't know what that sounds human-like to me, so that's fascinating. But the reason that I share everything is because we should all share everything. And as long as I don't mind someone saying to me, "You're an idiot, that's a turkey," then that's great, because it doesn't matter. And that's all part of the research. If I don't accept, if I don't accept information coming in, then why should I even put it out there? And so all of us have to be a little bit more open to looking in with a critical eye, of course, to looking at other people's information, looking at other people's data and their research, and that's great. And if you think you know what it is, fantastic. We can do this in a manner that's not rude. We can be polite to each other, and we shouldn't just look at other people's information just to try to find something wrong with it. Try to find out what's right with it. Try to find out how it might help all of us learn a little bit more about weird, hairy creatures living in the woods. If we work together, it'll be a heck of a lot easier to do that. So I'm going to share this the moment that I figure out how to make it sound better. All right, let's do that. All right, what I think I've been able to successfully do is really quickly just find about maybe, I don't know, a minute and 30 seconds worth of cool vocals. Now this is raw, I haven't really done anything except get rid of the dead air. Let's listen. One of the cool things is within that vocal right there, you hear whatever is howling, and it fires up the coyotes. Within the sounds of the coyotes, that howler is still howling. and you just can't really hear it because it's covered. But how cool is that? Now what I do with this information, because it's you can listen to it because it's about a minute long, then I can clean it up a bit, and it's worth people listening to because they don't have to waste their time because I've already done the work for them. And if I don't manipulate the sound and they can just listen to it, it's actually more useful.